want me to record, or are you good to record?
I'm happy to record again.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Good to see everyone here. Marcelo, Afo, Paul. What's up, guys?
Good morning. Good to see you, Sam, and everyone.
Yeah, good to see you, Paul. Okay, we're gonna wait maybe one more minute and then we'll get started. Yeah, no, I haven't started yet. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead. I was just checking the Luma RSVPs. I mean, we had over 40, but I wasn't expecting over 40, but expecting a little bit more than 10. But I mean, we can get started. And if anybody else files in the meantime, that will be fine. Okay, so yeah, let me get started. Just gonna share my screen really quickly. I just have like a short presentation to kick things off. Hopefully that is shared. All right. Yeah, I have a short presentation to kick things off. To set a little bit of context about what we're going to be hopefully discussing today. And yeah, then we can get into more of a group discussion, which I hope will take up more of the time. So yeah, I hope everyone's seeing the screen all right. Just gonna do this. Sorry, I think my computer is overheating. It's like 30 degrees in my flat right now. Okay, great. I think we're good to go then. I'll just accept people as they file in if we have any other late joiners. But yeah, so thanks everyone for being here. This is just like a governance update call. I think this really was precipitated by the recent the recent vote that we had on the House of Alignment, as well as the roadmap for the new iteration of the DAO that is continuing to evolve. And so what I really wanted to do today was kind of take another opportunity to continue on this collaborative design process that we've been partaking in together for several months now. Yeah, just kind of wanted to go over like what we've done. So this began with like a revision of the governance system for GoodDollar to really address some of the challenges regarding complexity and centralization of the governance system. and really, highlighting the need to build a governance framework that lowered barriers to participate and enabling real participation. The updated governance system is also coming at a time where there's this updated vision and mission for GoodDollar, where UBI is remaining at the heart of the project, but really setting the stage to grow a sustainable economy on top of GoodDollar. And so we held this collaborative governance redesign called CoGov, which was a structured hackathon for this collaborative process of redesigning the governance system that took place over the course of 9 weeks earlier this year. And the motivation being to really engage the community in iteratively redesigning the governance system. I think most of the people on this call were part of the CoGov process. So, I mean, no need to go into great detail on what was done there. I will say that for anybody who wasn't part of that, the retrospective report is on the forum. I linked to it there. This presentation will be posted to the forum as well after the call, and I linked to the retro report there. Please, take a couple minutes to review at least some of the key takeaways, which really are helping to drive this next vision of what the DAO will become. The first step on that path really was the launch of the House of Alignment, and then the GIP 26 proposal and vote that was meant to get community signal and approval of this new mechanism that is the House of Alignment. The vote was ultimately rejected, the proposal, which we can go over a little bit today. However, as I noted in the forum, the initial distributions to the members of the House of Alignment are now being funded instead of from the protocol, which was the heart of the GIP 26 proposal. They are going to be funded by the GoodLabs Foundation, kind of like as a desire to experiment and see this initial pilot through, so that we can gain valuable data around the effectiveness and impact of this program before bringing the next iteration back in front of the community for approval. I think that the GIP 26 community vote was really reflective of some of the challenges that the governance system is currently facing, and really reinforcing a need for change. So I took this screenshot from the snapshot room. As you can see, as I put there, 99% of the voting power against the proposal was concentrated in just 4 wallets, while 98% of the voting power for the proposal was concentrated in just 3 wallets. This centralization of power, for me personally, is exactly what GoodDollar was built to avoid, meaning, promoting an inclusive and an empowering space is like central to GoodDollar's mission. And so for me, seeing the outcome of a vote like this really runs counter to the work that we want to be doing, the environment that we want to be creating for people to have a real voice in this new economy that we're trying to build. And so there's still some open problems remaining, which primarily has to do with this power concentration in community voting, which I just showed on the previous slide. However, this also has to do with like how we want to be aggregating the preferences of of all community members, right? So this is ultimately like a social choice problem, which is really the challenge of aggregating individual preferences into a collective decision, such that any outcomes accurately reflect the values and objectives of the community, right? So how we ultimately do this is very much an open problem. And then also GIP 26 illustrated for me somewhat of a breakdown in the communication between DAO participants. And I think this has to do with, like how we manage our information systems. So, I had a call about the House of Alignment before, very much part of this collaborative design process, seeking input and feedback from the community. And none of the concerns that were ultimately raised during the voting process were really raised at all, either during the call or really in the forum leading up to the vote. Not that the result necessarily was a surprise. I knew that it is a very impactful, influential proposal, and that there was going to be some disagreement. But more, I would just really like to shore up some of this communication between the participants, between the various information systems we have, right? So the forum, these community calls, the snapshot like voting room, and really making sure that we all have like a shared context with which to really make informed decisions. And so not everything was negative about GIP 26. Actually, this really showed some strengths and opportunities for the community and for the new governance system we're building, because it really showed that we do have an active and engaged participant base. There were over 100 unique wallets that voted in the proposal, as well as there's been a very active forum, both in views but also in replies over the past couple of forum posts, and particularly around GIP 26. And then there was another community proposal of GIP 27, kind of as an offshoot of the House of Alignment vision, which we can get into in a minute. But yeah, this really shows an active participant base, an engaged participant base, which is definitely an asset moving forward that I really want to try to capture and grow. And then there's also our desire to experiment with new structures, which has been revealed throughout the CoGov process, but also by GoodLabs. In funding the initial pilot of the House of Alignment, which I think is a huge strength and something that I really want to lean into, as I've seen across the DAO space, various structures and systems become very ossified and inflexible to change, even when change is probably the best next step. Participant. Okay. So this leads us to kind of like our next steps and where we're going. So I want to stress here that, the roadmap that I'm presenting here today, also the overview that I posted on the forum, is really for community discussion only, right? This is not any formal proposal. This is not like a roadmap set in stone. This is something that I truly, truly want to co-create with the community, with all of GoodDollar's stakeholders. So these are, currently ideas that, I would love feedback on and to discuss on this call. I think the ultimate goal is to work towards a proposal that will receive broad consensus across the community to take the next steps in this DAO evolution that we're undergoing. And so this end state, as I've been envisioning it from the CoGov process, is a decentralized governance body working towards the goal of growing a sustainable economic system around GoodDollar, which I mentioned briefly before as, really the new mission of GoodDollar. Sorry, I'm just trying to let new people in as they file in. And in order to do this, like we really need to elicit, the community's trust in this process, but we also need to work towards a system that allocates resources intelligently, as well as, and I kind of just mentioned this as well, adapts to uncertain environments and is willing to correct mistakes in public. More of a flexible, adaptable system. I just want to point out that there's a current, I think we're really in an inflection point with DAOs and governance within Web3, where we're really starting to see the failure of some of these existing systems of token voting for everything type of systems, right? And I do think that this inflexibility is one of those main failures, where they're unable to adapt to new circumstances, new information, new actors, and just kind of the general chaos that is Web3. We're really seeing a larger DAO pattern here, where token voting alone does not necessarily create effective accountability, useful transparency, or high quality capital allocation. And actually, I don't know if anybody's currently following along with the ENS drama that's happening, but this is exactly, we're seeing that they have a quote unquote DAO that's run by token voting. However, it's not necessarily in place to prevent essentially organizational capture from a few actors, which is exactly what one of the primary challenges that a DAO was created, the concept of a DAO was created to address in the first place. And so, we're in this evergreen challenge space of balancing both efficiency and accountability, right? And so on this roadmap, in terms of where we're going, my vision has been, since the end of CoGov, to build up a pool of experts within a committee structure for more operational purposes, while we retain true community control over decision making for accountability, right? And so this has led to a couple of new structures that I am proposing for discussion and community feedback, which is a Treasury Committee, which will be up next, as well as what I'm calling the House of Citizenship, which will be to complement the already just recently launched House of Alignment. So yeah, let's get into it really briefly. I want to end this presentation within 5 minutes, hopefully, so we can leave the second half of the call for discussion. But basically, Treasury management, the objective here is to decentralize the management of the DAO's Treasury in order to grow the good dollar economy. And the mechanism I'm proposing here to do that is a committee of experts. This function of effectively managing a treasury really, it includes several things like business planning, asset risk management, financial reporting, all things which require a very high level of expertise and continuity and context. And so, for me, a committee, a persistent committee, is something that will allow and enable this to scale effectively, right? And so, yeah, responsibilities here include sustainable allocation of the funds, like I said, asset risk management, financial reporting, things like that, and with specific guardrails instituted in the beginning, such as like an explicit mandate, a budget, as well as community accountability measures. And so here I want to point out, and this is definitely something that can be up for discussion, in terms of member selection. To start, I would propose that GoodLabs and myself have kind of like the initial selection of the members in order to successfully run a pilot of this mechanism with people who we feel confident will be able to serve the best in the role. But however, in the future, moving towards a community voting model. And this was very much mirroring the same system that we selected the House of Alignment members, and really want to stress that this is for the purpose of establishing the right the right experimental environment, right, that we can successfully implement and test this new mechanism. Then there's the House of Citizenship. The House of Citizenship really is a concept that was born from the desire to promote greater inclusivity among ecosystem stakeholders and willing governance participants, as well as to lay the groundwork for future governance mechanisms and additional iteration with those, such as optimistic voting and reputation-weighted voting. The key features to start of the House of Citizenship are, these that I've listed here: open participation, democratic governance. I want to say, like, all votes being facilitated through a one person, one vote mechanism instead of the one token, one vote mechanism. And then a very limited scope to begin with, where the House of Citizenship will be controlling just the distribution of funds throughout the ecosystem. And this including two things: the House of Alignment quarterly distributions, so being able to vote on those, as well as the periodic selection of the Treasury Committee members who will be responsible for allocating the Treasury funds, and being able to vote on those members. This will be a new governance body that anyone with a verified GoodDollar wallet can participate in. And there have been risks of Sybil attacks raised on the forum about this, which we can talk about during this call as well, and as well as a proposed solution to that, in that every wallet must stake a certain amount of the G token in order to participate. It would be a minimum amount, more to prevent the Sybil risk rather than actually driving, trying to get more GoodDollar stake, right? But yeah, we can talk about that as well. And then streamlining participation through a new central governance platform, I think will be very key to solving some of the communication challenges that I mentioned before. Just really briefly, this is actually a copy and paste of a slide that I gave in a previous presentation, but just really giving a good idea. This is up on the forum as well, of where we are at in the transition roadmap, where we're starting to form these. We want to be starting to form these committees for more efficient execution. Starting the different capital allocation programs that we want to run. The House of Alignment is launched, and then launching a DAO Treasury program alongside the Treasury Committee. However, control over both the protocol, Treasury, as well as the governance process itself is still governed by the GIP process and the Good token. So yeah, this is up on the forum post. But yeah, just to kind of keep track of where we are at in this transition period. And then next steps. So yeah, I hope we can have a productive discussion following this presentation for the second half of the call. I really want to work towards a formal proposal that can receive broad consensus throughout the community about this roadmap, right? So about the Treasury Committee function and formation, as well as the House of Citizenship launch. We want to begin building out a new central governance platform. So, getting ideas around that and the design of that platform would be great. And then beginning to onboard members of the House of Alignment, and moving towards the first vote of the next distributions to the House. sorry, the House of Citizenship, I meant to say, but the House of Alignment distributions is what they're going to be voting on next. And so this is, like I said before, these are next steps that I am really just putting out there now for discussion and feedback. Nothing here is set in stone, and I really hope that we are able to have a productive discussion about this. In order to facilitate said discussion, I actually have some discussion questions here. I posted a couple starter questions on the forum, if anybody had initial thoughts on that. But yeah, I do want to open it up now to the, everyone here. We can kind of just go in like a raising hand type of situation. So if anybody has any, I think, we should start with, if there, I ran through all of that. It felt really quick. I know it was about 20 something minutes. But if anybody has any initial questions about anything I just presented, this will be a good time to share that and maybe kick off the discussion with some of those questions. And then I'm happy to run through some of these discussion questions and kind of see where the conversation takes us. Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, either Mary, Hadar, but otherwise, yeah, very much eager to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah, we can, I don't know if I said, just feel free to raise your hand if you have any initial questions. Otherwise, happy to run through some of these discussion questions and, see what people's thoughts are.
Yeah, so I think that was a good introduction. I think, yes, some of the questions here, there are many questions here. I think it will be hard to answer them probably in a single call. Yeah, maybe we should see what interests people here, which questions people want to think are most pressing or interesting, and they have idea or they want to focus on.
Yeah, I think that it makes sense to me if we want to begin by talking about the House of Alignment, just because there was the controversial proposal that got rejected by the community. I don't think that unfortunately, any of the major, let's say, voters in that vote are present today on the call, like the ones who were against the proposal, both in the vote but also the forum. But the main the main challenge here is deciding which mechanisms to use to select members moving forward, as well as to distribute funds moving forward. As I said, we wanted to select the members for this initial pilot, and keep that a bit more centralized to start off the experiment kind of on the right foot, right? With trusted entities that we knew were aligned with GoodDollar and that would be able to redistribute the funds to communities that we think would make a solid impact for them and for GoodDollar. And then distributing the funds, the decision being from the protocol, from the DAO Treasury, and then it was never intended to use foundation funds in the beginning, but that's what we've started out with to be able to kick this program off, as well as collect useful data for the next iteration. So if there were any comments, answers, thoughts, other questions on those topics, now is definitely the time to surface them. I welcome any feedback on, I know we do have the members of the House of Alignment, or some of them in the room with us. yeah, if there's any thoughts that we wanted to raise, yeah, this would definitely be the time. Yeah, don't everyone jump at once. This is, you know, this is meant to be a welcoming space, and yeah, I don't want to just hear myself talk. You know, also, you know, this is, yeah, like I said, it's meant to be a very collaborative. You know, if you want to address any of the other items, these are a lot of questions here, but I wanted to really try to stimulate as much conversation as I could. I thought more was better. I don't want to overwhelm everyone, but yeah, those are the three main topics there that are kind of in process at the moment. So trying to elicit all feedback that we can. Yeah, and I know, yeah, Afo, I see your comment in the chat. I'm happy to. I mean, if there aren't any questions around the House of Alignment, I don't know if we wanted to troubleshoot this really briefly here. I already posed a question to Hadar, but
yeah. So I think yeah, Afo, you can maybe schedule a call with me, and we can try to discuss to understand the technical challenges and see what makes sense. I'll share just I'll share my calendar on the chat so you can.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. I think that Afo and I are currently collaborating on like yeah, a concept for green goods on, you know, the G token distribution. And so maybe we can finish that up and then we can all have a call together on the technical side of things. Yeah, okay. I really want to, you know, I'm really hoping to get, you know, some feedback on the committee, the proposed committee structure, as well as the House of Citizenship. And I mean, if there's no, you know, specific answers to the questions up here, if there is anything that people are currently, I know I ran through all that stuff really fast, and more details will certainly be posted on the forum. For people to go through on their own time. But if there's anything that is, you know, confusing or people are unsure of at the moment, I really want to make sure that the new structure is as legible for people as possible so that we're able to elicit as much participation as possible around it. So yeah, if there's anything confusing, please ask, you know, about the structure or the purpose of these proposed new mechanisms.
For me, I don't have a question on the specific mechanisms, but I think like this is a reflection of like the problem that we are having at the DAO right now, right? How like we put together like a proposal for like the House of Alignment, and we create like the space for the community to like debate and come together before the proposal and like afterwards. And we are still relying into like all structures that are blocking like some of the decisions, or they're blocking even the debate, right? It would have been great if like the community member who proposed like GAP 27, who he was invited to come to this call, it would have been great to come here because he raised like a lot of answers and like even put like a proposal together, right? But it seems like we heritage like an old like structure, and it's been like difficult on how to like move forward with the things, and like the vision that seems to have more of like community like agreement, at least for the new members that we want to align.
Yeah, I mentioned GIP 27, but I didn't really go into it. I mean, a TLDR for people who didn't see it. It was to counter the current House of Alignment member selection that was made in the proposers' mind a little bit too centralized of a decision, and being able to open up protocol emissions for any project that goes and stakes G and being able to get like a proportional amount of like a certain pool of funds that would be allocated towards that purpose. Yeah, as you said, Mary, yeah, it would be great if we could also further align on these calls with those people. I mean, there are a lot of limitations to just strictly forum communication. I think that we've seen in our forum, but certainly across the DAO space, and being able to evolve our communication systems. Like that's something that I mentioned a couple times on this call, is something, you know, is definitely a challenge that I think we need to address. Yeah, go ahead, Afo.
Yeah, you know, I'm still like getting like onboarded into like the ecosystem. But like you guys were saying, it seems like those people aren't showing up for these calls, which we do know, like, you know, being global communities, that it's not always easy to show up for certain calls. Have you guys tried reaching out directly to have conversations with these folks?
Yeah, that's no, not yet, and that's definitely something that I will do after this call. I think that's I mean, it's certainly a strategy I've used to, you know, let people know about the, you know, governance, like the community calls, and trying to get you know, more like greater attendance rather than just like blasting out you know, mass messages, right? But I think that's a good idea. I think that ultimately these, you know, these discussions need to take place in public rather than like back channels. But in terms of, I guess, facilitating, I completely hear you, Afo. I feel like current systems, it definitely is difficult to arrange for a global community, but also people have, you know, different responsibilities and, you know, availability for these types of things. So being able to get a better idea of those participants, you know, limitations, let's say, and being able to like better design these spaces for them, and, you know, just for as broad participation as possible. Mary, I don't know if you had something to say to that.
No, that for me, that's also how, like, in this new system that we are trying to create, it has to be more based on like trust, that not like token power, right? Because to be honest, some of like, there is not really like a connection between like what people are saying in the forum and how they end up like voting, right? So it's even difficult sometimes to know like who is like this big whale who came in and like use his power to like block this proposal. Has he shown up in the forum? Like if they don't come in like directly, there's not really like a straight connection there. That's why like I like all these kind of like mechanisms that we're trying to implement here. They're also like built on trust and like uniqueness, right? And like trying to identify who those people are and who are involved and who are like participating.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the accountability factor as well, like accountability to at least, you know, show up when needed. And, you know, that's necessary. And I understand like for certain positions, like for a Treasury Committee that is meeting on a, you know, semi-frequent basis, like these are roles that we want to be compensating as well, like because that is serious time and effort that is put in. And that's something that is required for that type of continuity and context, right? Persistent context. So that's like definitely another consideration. But yeah, just trying to figure out, yeah, like Mary said, you know, creating that environment where it's a little bit more, yeah, I mean, trust-based for sure, but really facilitating the communication that we need to make good decisions, that the decisions are actually reflective of the community's values, of our objectives, especially as we move towards allocating some of the Treasury funds, right? We've seen this go so wrong in so many DAOs, and being able to do this in a, you know, an effective way, like with clear evaluation systems baked in, and then obviously the transparency element, so that everyone in the community can see what's happening and participate in it. I mean, that's kind of has to do with, you know, some of the questions under the Treasury Committee there. like, being able to leave space for community deliberation, even though we do have a more a slightly more centralized decision-making structure, right? I think it's very important. And yeah, if anybody has any thoughts or comments or feedback on that, I very much welcome it.
Yeah, another thought that just came up is the goal to keep token voting like long term and just find ways to like even out distribution, or look at other, I guess maybe the House of Citizenship is like some part of that. But I just want to understand like how enshrined token voting is to going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that is like the golden question. I think that for now, as I showed on the transition slide, just going back to that, yeah, so the control as it stands now is still subject to the normal proposal process and the token voting structure, which has been in place for several years now. I certainly personally want to be experimenting with new mechanisms and new structures, which is the initial impetus behind the House of Citizenship. And being able to do that though in a safe way and in a controlled way, which is why I want to launch with like a specific limited scope over just the funds distribution, right? So just being able to vote quarterly on the House of Alignment distributions, being able to vote on the members of the Treasury Committee, and yeah, being able to experiment with new structures, new mechanisms. I definitely think that's a primary goal of mine. As I said in the beginning, I think ossification of these things has been one of the major downfalls of DAOs, which were initially ideated as vehicles for experimentation, right, and different types of organizational designs. So yeah, I'm not saying that we're getting rid of token voting, but this is something that I want to discuss with the community, keep this conversation moving forward with the community to figure out what the best path forward is for the DAO.
Yeah, just one last thought, I guess, on that subject, because it feels like there's like two paths in the sense of, okay, there's this current token voting structure, so you just have to like get wells aligned and kind of involved and engaged, or lead with a proposal that promotes raising the voices of the others who have been participating and showing up to have a larger voice.
And do you mean by like, if we kept the token voting system, like just delegating tokens to them, or
whatever way that would look like, but finding
Yeah.
a way to identify who's been active on the farm, who shows up to the calls, and
Yep.
and lead with a proposal that's centered around that.
Yep. That is a great idea. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I don't really have any follow-up comments there. I think ideally, we want to be creating structures that formalize, those roles as well, which is also what a community structure does, right? Where instead of just, oh, you have this much power to vote, but no, I want to actually empower you with like a specific role and responsibilities. And if you're, an active participant, like I want to be giving you the space to be able to, fulfill those roles, right? So, yeah, I think a combination of the two. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I think that's actually, I'm just looking at my bullet points there. I don't know if that's exactly what the second to last bullet point says, but in terms of longtime contributors receiving additional governance power, that's definitely a question up for debate. And of course, if we would want to do that, exactly the mechanism we would want to use to assign that. Okay, well, I just got a notification that our call ends in 15 minutes. So I don't know. I mean, we don't have to stay. I don't want to keep, but I could definitely use the last 15 minutes to talk about all the problems with DAOs at the current, juncture, because I've been writing about it recently. But I don't know if that would be the most valuable use of our time. I really wanted to just get as much out of this as you guys did. So yeah, maybe, give another minute or so for any open questions or addressing any of the questions I have there. And then, if there's nothing else, I'm happy to give everyone time back.
No, I think for me it's like maybe like what do you think are the next steps from here now? Like what is happening on the governance side?
Yeah, so that's, going back to this slide. So I guess this is part of the community feedback. I think that I want to share, share this presentation with the people who are on the forum as well. And I do want to work towards a formal proposal to introduce the committee and the new House. The best way to do that, I'm still a little bit, it's still a little unclear, but yeah, I'm just going to try to elicit as much feedback throughout the process as possible. I know that we will probably get a little bit more pushback than on the call today, and that's perfectly okay. I want to, try to elicit as much broad consensus as possible, and have a productive, deliberative process throughout. But yeah, working towards a formal proposal for me is the next step, and being able to vote in with the community these new mechanisms. That's like the clear next step for me. Meanwhile, the House of Alignment, like I said, has been launched. Very excited to begin engaging with those communities and seeing the impact that is made with those distributions. And looking forward to working towards that next, that next iteration, right, where we'll be able to have a little bit more data around that and making a clearer decision on future distributions. So, those are, for me, those are the next steps. There's still a few question marks that I knew weren't going to necessarily be answered today, but that's I don't know. I don't know if you had anything else to add to that, Mary.
No, not from my side. Maybe I think like we should update the forum after this. Try to reach out to these members, even though like we have been reaching them out over. And see.
All right. I think that was it. Yeah. Well, I had a thank you slide, so might as well show it. Thank you, Ben, for everybody checking in. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but appreciate you listening to the presentation. And we'll continue to be updating on the forum the next steps, and always feel free to reach out to me directly or reply in a more public channel with any questions or feedback. I want to continue working together on this. Really appreciate it. And unless there's any last minute questions, which
you don't have you don't have a game to catch. England.
England.
Uh,
No, I'm just gonna be forcing myself to stay awake for the U.S. Tonight, which is starting at 1 a.m. my time. But yes, I will be watching the England game after this call. But just by myself in my flat. I don't have any plans.
It's probably you're in London right now, no?
I am. But I'd be happy if there, but more of a U.S. fan, which is where I'm originally from.
Oh, I cannot believe you're a U.S. football fan living in London.
You know, I'll just end with this note that the U.S. football team is the only really, it's the thing to root for the U.S. It's the best thing to root for the U.S. in, because we're the underdogs. Nobody expects us to do well, so it's actually fun for once to root for the U.S. But yeah, I hope everybody's enjoying the World Cup as well. It's been like my favorite World Cup in my lifetime, I feel like. So yeah, I'll let's give time back. No need to be on for an extra 4 minutes, but yeah, appreciate everyone coming through, and we'll see you online. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.